Welcome back to TBT class today. How are you doing, everyone? Do you see something on the whiteboard? What is it? Yes, let you see about complex sentence. What is complex sentence? You see? So everyone, complex sentence, we are talking about a sentence that contains an independent clause plus dependent clause. If you try your best to watch my video one by one, I hope that you know what is dependent clause, what is independent clause. So to make you clear after this one, I have a plan to make one more video about dependent clause and independent clause. What are the difference? So that's okay, keep you watching for the next video about that. But today, what I want to tell you, it is complex sentence. So everyone, complex sentence, it is a type of sentence that we talk about two clauses, or two sentences are joined by independent clause and dependent clause. You can see on the whiteboard a simple sentence that contains an independent clause plus dependent clause we call complex sentence. So let you see. I stay here until you come back. You see it? I stay here until you come back. We have two sentences. We have I stay here, one more sentence, and another one sentence until you come back. I stay here, it is independent clause. Until you come back, it is dependent clause, or we call subordinate clause. Subordinate clause that is made by subordinating conjunction. So this one we call subordinate clause because we see subordinating conjunction here. So until it is conjunction, we call subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction always stand, always stand before a sentence. But subordinating conjunction or subordinator plus sentence, those tend to be dependent clause. Those sentences to be dependent clause like this. Until you come back, we call dependent clause or subordinate clause. Exactly, it is the sentence, of course. It is a sentence, but it doesn't have its own meaning. It doesn't have enough meaning to understand. We call dependent clause. So look at another one. He had arrived here before you called. He had arrived here before you called. So this one, he had arrived here, independent clause. And another one, before you called, we call dependent clause. You see, before, it is subordinator, or we call subordinating conjunction. Yes, stand before a sentence you call. It is also a sentence, but when we see subordinating conjunction or subordinator stand before it, it becomes dependent clause. Okay? Another one. When you meet him, please inform me. So when you meet him, please inform me. So you see, please inform me, it is independent clause. Yes, and when you meet him, it is dependent clause, because we see when here is subordinating conjunction, or we call subordinator. So when you meet him, it is dependent clause, comma, and please inform me, independent clause. Let us see one by one. Another one. While teachers explaining, everyone is noting. So while teacher is explaining, this one we call dependent clause, and everyone is noting, we call independent clause. So I stay here until you come back. He had arrived here before you called. When you meet him, please inform me. While teacher is explaining, everyone is noting. All of this, just a simple example that I let you know they are complex sentence. So you see, why do we call this sentence complex sentence? Because we see subordinating conjunction. You can say, I stay here, I have arrived here, please inform me, everyone is noting. All of this, they are independent clause. Until you come back, before you called, when you meet him, while teacher explaining, all of these are dependent clause. So independent clause plus dependent clause to become complex sentence. So complex sentence, we talk about two sentences or two clauses are combined by independent clause and dependent clause. One more thing, Yes, let you say. So this one is very important part that I want you to know, like just example, I give you like ask, before, if, once, since, that, after, when, where, why, who, all of this we call subordinating conjunction or subordinator. They are very important that let us know complex sentence. So complex sentence is known by this. You see, just example, not only this. I just give you example that let you see what is subordinator or what is subordinating conjunction. Just let you see all of this we call subordinator. Exactly, they are very important in complex sentence. We use subordinator or subordinating conjunction to make complex sentence. Exactly, subordinator or subordinating conjunction, they are not the same coordinator or coordinating conjunction that you learned in the previous video about compound sentence. Okay, so again everyone, subordinator, we refer to type of subordinating conjunction that we use them to make complex sentence. So when we want to make complex sentence or when we know complex sentence, unless we know how to use all of this, we know how to use subordinator or subordinating conjunction again and again to make you clear or to make you understand about this. Okay, so let you see practice one by one with me. Everyone, let you see practice. I give you a sentence from number 1 to number 8. You can see number 1, everything will be well as people are educated. You see, so this one we call complex sentence. You know where is subordinating conjunction or where is subordinator? You see here, asked. You see, but when we underline from subordinator. We start from subordinator to the end. So subordinator always stand before clause or sentence. But when we see subordinator plus sentence, we call dependent clause. Don't forget, when we use subordinators plus sentence or clause, to become dependent clause. You see, dependent clause. See, dependent clause. So subordinator plus sentence to become dependent clause. You got it? So this one, everything will be well as people are educated. We call complex sentence. Because we say independent clause plus dependent clause like this. Independent clause plus dependent clause. Number 2, before you come here, please let me know. Before you come here, please let me know. What are the difference between number 1 and number 2? So number 1, we use independent clause before. After that, we use dependent clause. But number 2, we use dependent clause at first. So what is different? We say comma. You see, we see comma. Note, every complex sentence, when we use dependent clause at the first, we use comma. Don't forget to use comma. Only in writing that we use comma, but speaking no need to detail like that. Just pick a simple sentence. Before you come here, please let me know. That's enough. No need to say before you come here, comma, please let me know. No need to say like this. Okay. So you see, this one we call dependent clause, and this one we call independent clause. Get it? Number 3. I will call you if I go your home. I will call you if I go your home. So you see, this one we call independent clause, and from if we call dependent clause. So it is complex sentence. Okay, number 4. She can drive since she was 15 ages. Okay, independent clause, dependent clause. So it is complex sentence. Very easy, I think. Yes, even those you. So when you keep watching to fully understandingly I think that you got what I am explaining you, what I am showing you. Yes. Number 5. He bought the book that I like. So where is it? He bought a book, independent clause, that I like, dependent clause. Yes. You see. Number 6. I don't know why it was wrong. So see, I don't know, independent clause, why it was wrong. Dependent clause. So it is complex sentence. Number 7. Although she passed the exam, she still cries. Okay. So you see, we use dependent clause at first, and we use independent clause at the last, and we use comma. As I told you, when we use dependent clause at the beginning, we use comma before we start independent clause. Number 8. He is a man who overhapped the offense. So you got it. Independent clause and dependent clause. So it is complex sentence. So let's see from number 1. Okay, ask. Okay, if sin that why. Okay, all those. Another one, who. They are subordinating conjunction or subordinator. Like this. So everyone, based on the video today, just note like this. Complex sentence, we talk about 2 sentences are combined by independent clause and dependent clause. So dependent clause, we talk about type of sentence that is started at the beginning by subordinating conjunction or subordinator. Again, so subordinator, the element that very important to use and make complex sentence. Okay. Another one, when we use dependent clause at the first, don't forget to put a comma before we start independent clause at the last. You get it? Like this. Okay. So thank you everyone for spending time today. See you next time. Bye bye.